How you doing, fans, supporters of In the Sand podcast? I'm excited to be back. We kind of been away for a little bit, but man, we just been creating great content. I'm excited to have you here. And as always, will you please please subscribe to this channel so we continue to help it grow. We have another great coach on, Coach Carr. Just excited about it. Excuse me. As always, I've always catch up with all my guests before we get started. And Coach Carr and I met about excuse me, maybe about 3 years ago. I was at Pisgah High School. He was at Piney Woods High School. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's a story that fits into what he's doing at Piney Woods now. But he was coaching at Piney Woods at the time. We had an opportunity to be able to meet, kind of talk. And I was super excited to get to know what he's doing with the role he's playing now with our post grad in Piney Woods. And I know I said I wasn't going to say a lot, but of course he's leading that great post grad program here in Piney Woods, Mississippi. And we're excited to have a guy of that caliber, that stature, a great coach like Coach Carr to be here in Mississippi, but also be here on the podcast. So, man, Coach Carr, man, thank you for being a part of it, man. And how you doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you for having me on your show, man. It really means a lot
Yes.
to me, man. So,
Hey, man, I definitely appreciate you, man. I thank you for taking out time. I know we're in the middle of season, and so I'm glad I was able to be able to catch you, man, and just really just have you on because what we got going on in Piney Woods is good, Coach. And I know I usually let everybody introduce themselves first, but Coach, talk to us about what made you want to be a basketball coach, and then we're gonna kind of get into some of your introduction. But Coach, what made you want to be a basketball coach?
just I was around it. My upbringing was, during the basketball family, and how I was introduced to basketball was the teaching and development.
Mm.
So growing up, I just gravitated to the teaching and development, skill development, and then gradually coaching got involved in it. So it's a story behind it, and we'll dive more into it. But
So.
it's definitely, it was God given into me. So
Yeah. And that's important. And I open up with that question, and that's kind of one reason I have the podcast. And I'm kind of saying this for those who may be new to the podcast, is that we as coaches sometimes get a negative image painted of us, or sometimes we get harsh criticism. And a lot of people don't realize that majority of people who coach, they do it for the love of the game. They do it for helping other people. And this platform allows us just to be able to appreciate our coaches, but also just to be able to see, what we go through a daily basis. But a lot of times as coaches, of course, the higher you move up, you'll get paid, well. But usually when you're first starting off, most of the time, not all the time, you're doing it, man. You may volunteer, you may not get paid. Of course, you may not be getting paid a whole lot of money, but it's really for the love. And I just want to continue to grow the appreciation for great coaches like yourself, and across the world, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. So, Coach, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into it, man. Just tell us about yourself. Tell us about how you started on this great journey of becoming a basketball coach.
Originally from Farmerville, Louisiana, a little small town in North Louisiana. Um, Came from a basketball family. Mom and dad, two-parent household. But all of my had uncles that played college basketball, uncles that coached Division I basketball, and um, two of my cousins they played in the NBA. One is played for 16 years, and um, so it's a basketball family. Um, we started young, man. Basketball, I played basketball, baseball, football, and did well in all three.
Yeah.
But basketball was the thing for my family, and we looked at it as a way uh, to get out, survive,
Yeah.
um, and quite naturally, that was our work environment was predicated on basketball, how to survive, how to figure it out, how to navigate life, and that's how my uncles taught us how to manage in life. Um, we started, I had cousins, five of us, but one of my uncles, D'Angelo Simmons, he took us every day. Was going to stay in that gym, strength and conditioning the first thing in the morning, uh,
Mm.
to skill development day. We would go have open gym, play against older guys at 10, 11 years old, play against older guys. Um, and go to different gyms in the evening time. Like that was our routine, and it was all 5, 6 of us. We would fit into a two-door Sunfire vehicle, and we would. That's a small vehicle. We all crammed in there, and we would go play the different gyms, just to get that experience and the teaching and development of the game. And to this day, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for him for teaching us the game. I had another uncle that coached Division I basketball for 9 years. And so it's just a basketball family, and I gravitated to loving it because I was around it all my life. And this is my way of giving back, giving the younger generation something that I had, people that could teach me and mold me, as well as give me life lessons. Like my dad's a pastor of one church for 40 years, and that part of it is ministry as well.
Yep.
So I try to incorporate all that into one, especially in times in this era with this young generation and how they can be easily led astray. And so now that I can use that platform as a basketball coach, I can give back. So it's a great story, tremendous story. Like I say, we got two of my cousins that made it to the NBA. One was a 4-time All-Star. My uncle that trained us, he was an NBA agent to this day. So my family, we're blessed, we're thankful, and we do everything we can to give back to our family, our community, as well as the younger generation.
Coach, that's powerful, man. And I'm always taking notes, man, because I always want to go back and look at notes and hopefully learn some things, man. But to be in that kind of environment on a daily basis, that's amazing. And
Yeah,
that's one thing that I believe that our kids of this generation is missing. Like they don't go around as much. And I would say here in Mississippi, because it could be different where you're from in Louisiana and Georgia. But I do notice a lot of kids in our area they don't always get into the car and going somewhere to play basketball all the time and play pickup here, play pickup here. It has moved more to the teaching and development thing that you are mastering, but there's nothing wrong with that. But I still believe that, and you can disagree or agree on that. That 5 on 5 is still important because at the
yes,
end of the day, you still have to be able to know how to have your skills that you've been working on, but you still have to know how to play with 4 other people on the floor and against live action defense. And I think that's one thing that this generation is missing, which sometimes affects them on the floor, but I think socially as well, because I had to laugh when you said everybody was packed into a car. Because I can remember when I was younger, and we all wanted to be on my cousin's house, man. It was like one bed, and like 5 or 6 of us just hopped in the bed, and we just wanted just to be around each other that much, and we didn't want to leave each other's presence. And it's funny how when we were younger, we didn't mind being cramped up. As we get older, we're like, man, I can't do that anymore. But it's amazing
exactly.
what we did when we were younger, man.
We it was a sacrifice, man. Like I say, I'm gratefully indebted. My dad was influential in my life, but my uncle he sacrificed. Like we
Yep.
didn't have no money, we didn't have a lot, and like we was going all day, and we would go and get a Whopper, just a Whopper and a cup of water as a meal throughout the day because we was gone all the time,
Yep.
and it molded us into where we at today. And that's where it's at. And then I totally agree with you. It's not enough going and playing basketball. Like on Christmas holidays, Thanksgiving, that morning, it was some open gym being played and where I'm in Louisiana that morning. And it was gym full. And now you hardly ever see just, some open runs and the competitive side and all that stuff going on. It's missing. You can tell how guys play. So I totally agree with you on that side of playing 5-on-5.
Yeah, man. Like I said, hopefully it kind of picks up. And then I will say this: the kids who are I guess that they say at the top or the elite kids, they do it a little bit more often. But again, the kids because they kind of understand it and they have people around them like you who put them in them situations and tell them that you have it. But a lot of our kids who may not be at that elite level, they don't see the importance of it. So hopefully, man, that kind of changes, man, and they can even see this conversation that we're having. I love the part you said about ministry, Coach. I think that is important because that's why we do it. Now, kind of talking about that, Coach, talk to us about where you are presently right now, and then talk to us about how you actually got here. So I say that first. Talk to us about your coaching journey now, about where you started from and where you are at this present moment, because you're doing some big things at Piney Woods, man.
Originally, my uncle's that was a Division I coach. He came back home and he was coaching high school. So I was assistant coach with him for 9 years. And then once I did that, I moved to Atlanta. My cousin Paul Millsap, he started his own academy in Atlanta. He started a postgraduate program. I moved to Atlanta and was the head coach there for 3 years. Did some great things, great things. Played some national schedule, got a lot of guys play some exposure. Um, it was actually jump started my coaching career um, because I was thrust into being a head coach, and I was able to showcase my coaching abilities as well as development of players. Um, and basketball is a small world. Um, so in the middle of me coaching in Atlanta, me and Coach Yusuf Fitzgerald, we grew over the course of my tenure there. I sent him, one of his better players that said Stephen F. Olsen, and we just built a relationship over the course. And so COVID hit bad. Around when COVID first hit, we had to shut our program down, and we never recovered from it. And so it was a situation where Coach Fitzgerald was getting out of coaching college, and it was a city he was going back home to Piney Woods. And so me and him, we connected as, hey man, I come with you. And that's how I ended up with Piney Woods. And it's a great situation, I'm all about helping kids, and that's a true testament on building relationships, trusting people that's close to you. So that's how it's made a full circle from from the country to the city, back to the country life. And basketball has done great things for me, and we've done great things so far at Piney Woods, and I think it's going to continue to get better over the course of of time.
Man, I'm glad you said that. Coach Carr, talk to us about Piney Woods, because some people don't know Piney Woods. Some people remember Piney Woods for what it used to be. Like, because I know my cousin, he probably gonna be mad at me with Coach Sanders. My cousin in Dallas, he came down because he was kind of needed some guidance in the right way. So he came to Piney Woods more just for the responsibility side of it. And then later on, it kind of became more basketball oriented. So kind of just talk to us about like Piney Woods, the history of Piney Woods, just for people who may not understand or know what is currently going on in Piney Woods.
Yeah, man. So I didn't know anything about Piney Woods until Fitzgerald told me. And I'll never forget my first time going on campus, and I dotted that hill. It's a hill when you first come past security. All I see was land, trees. That's
Yep.
all I seen. And then when you get to the peak, you see nothing but this beautiful campus and how much potential it is.
Yep.
And then once I started diving into the history of it, and how Dr. Lawrence C. Jones founded the school, and what he went through to keep it survived, and the rich tradition of, you had the farm, the kids that came through, and it's just it's marvelous, what they've done for 114 years.
Yep.
And it hit a rough patch, but I can truly say right now, we're on the up and up. We're thriving. We got some projects going on campus that we've seen through. That's some more projects in the works, and I know a lot of people, quite naturally, I think in Mississippi area, they think of it as a school for the bad kids,
Yep.
and it's
Yep.
not. Now, do we have, structure, and you're going to be held accountable as a young student because you're out campus? Yes. And that's, I think, when you walk away from Piney Woods as a student, you can appreciate that, because in the real world, you're ahead of the game because you've been held accountable for 4 years. And that's the one thing that I do love, is teaching young people, young men, young women, how to conduct yourselves in life. And everything is a life lesson.
It is.
And that's what I love about Piney Woods. It's not the traditional school, but you're gonna be held accountable, and you're gonna have freedom to do, but you're gonna have some responsibility as well. And it's not school for the bad school. Like, we actually have tremendous students, tremendous students that they get scholarship offers academically to go all across the country. Um, and I know back in the day it was known for its athletics and all that stuff, and athletics was kind of down. But right now, Our high school team, they're 5-2. Post grad is doing well, and we're looking to keep growing it. We got the enrollments up, and it's going to keep going up. And so, my goal and our staff's role is just to get the message out that Piney Woods is alive and well, and we look forward to the future.
Man, I think that's very good, Coach, and I think that's important. It's very informative, Coach. And so, Coach, while we're there, kind of talk about a little bit of what's different between the high school and the post grad, and what are you doing specifically with the specifically with the post grad? Because I mean, even with myself, I know what post grad is for, and I kind of know the basics of it. But Coach, just kind of give us, some ins and outs that the average fan or the average supporter may not know about post grad and just the benefit of it.
So post grad now is the new thing. It's
Yeah.
been around, but it's an avenue to where young men or women. It's not really known for women, but young men can develop on and off the court.
Yeah.
I tell any parent, that I'm recruiting to come, hey, this is more than just basketball. It's
Yeah.
about life. Like you're gonna get life lessons. Like we do uh, financial literacy courses. We do the social media etiquette. We do dress for success, career
Yeah.
planning. We do all that stuff because at some point in life, that basketball is gonna stop bouncing, and
It
you
is.
gotta be able to survive it. And everybody's not gonna make it to the
They
NBA.
not.
It's just a fact, and I try to be as real with my guys as possible, because at some point, like I don't mind being the bad guy and telling you the truth,
That's
because I care, and that's my job is to teach you and train you and get you ready for the next chapter of your life. So we do have those courses. We
yeah.
quite naturally, when they left our program, we have had guys in the last 3 years at Piney Woods that have gone on and had success, whether it's on the court or off the court. I had guys that came in thinking that they was gonna play college basketball, but hey, by the time they ended, they want to do music. They want to go to work. But my main goal is to help them identify what do you want to do with your life, and that's a win for me. So post grad is the avenue. You don't have to waste any eligibility. I do have a few of my guys that's taking some college courses online. I give them the option of taking that. This really depends on how academically they're ahead, coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And they do it online. Generally, we go with junior college online, and we can monitor it, their classes, and we haven't had anybody fail any classes or anything. So that's done a good job, and those credits are going toward their graduation. So wherever they transfer to, they get a scholarship to somewhere school in California, Arizona. Those credits would be transferable. So, but that's the total difference. And for me, I kind of get our daily schedule, as close to a college as possible. Like
Yeah.
from the weights in the morning to skill development to study hour to practice to film to it's really on a college regimen.
Mm. So, Coach, with that being said, so I'm writing it down and I'm thinking about this, Coach. So, what type of kid are you looking for? Are you looking for a kid that is maybe need another year to mature and maybe spend another year learning how to play the game the right way? Are you looking for kids who maybe are not ready? They feel like they're not ready and they personally want to take some more time. Or are you looking for a kid that may have struggled? Maybe a kid struggle academically and they need another time to kind of get their grades. Like, what type of kids are you looking for? Because I know some people are going to be listening, like, man, how can I get into this post grad program or possibly even try to work out to be a part of a post grad program?
So for me, I really want a good character kid,
Okay.
good character that has some type of athletic ability. They
Yeah.
don't have to be, for me. They don't have to be a future NBA or a future Division One player. Just because in this situation where I'm in, we're going to be in the gym 3 times a day, and quite naturally, you're going to be getting better on the court. Um, because you're in the gym, you're working every day.
Yeah.
So I just want really get high character kids that has some type of ability that that's not gonna cause any problem. I mean, I know everybody had their own situation, but in my situation, I understand they're here for me for a reason.
Yeah.
Because if they wasn't doing post grad, they would be off to school. So they're here for a reason, and
True.
that's where I come in there to help mold them, help be patient and teach them and show them and train them to do stuff the right way. And I've had coaches hit me all the time, give me talking about they got guys that they should have did post grad year with you, just because they either late for a workout, they late for class, the accountability they should have gotten, they don't have it, and I take pride in that because when my guys leave, I want those coaches to come back, they recruit the next group,
You
and
do.
so, and I want to be able to pat him on the back and say, man, that kid came through my program and he know how to be accountable, held accountable and do what he's supposed to do and do what he's supposed to do whenever he gets to wherever he's going. So, I mean, I'm not real particular. I love to have some type of guy that's through the roof athletically, but it don't take much for me. Just a high character kid.
So when you go to high school games, coach, and I know during this time that you have a little bit off time, when you go into high
Mm-hmm.
school games, are you going there with the mindset of saying, maybe I can talk to this kid and make him think about going post grad, or how does that process work? Because obviously I know when people go into games, obviously college coach, post grad, everybody has a goal that they have in mind. So how do you approach that? Like, because I know some people seniors may be asking, like, how do I let a coach know that I'm interested in going post grad? So how do you recruit in that matter of it?
So when I go in the gym, like last night I was in the gym, I just look at, their movement on the court,
Okay.
how well their IQ is of the game. And then, like, it was a big kid last night. He moved, played well, and I know that he probably has some college schools on him. But
Yeah.
I know from a skill set, and then obviously the transfer portal is killing a lot of high school kids.
Yes, sir.
And so the post grad is another avenue, especially with the schedule that we play with JUCOs, to able to get a true assessment,
Yeah.
because that's what colleges want to see now. Now is they want to see them go up against older guys.
Yep.
So I look at how competitive they are, if they really want to play, because a lot of guys say at this level they want to be this and want to be that, but do you truly want to be a basketball player and put in the grind, the work?
Yeah.
And that's what I ask those type of questions. Like, how often do you work out? Like, do you do film? Are you a student of the game? How heavily are you invested? So I'd be real thorough before I really bring a guy in, just because I don't want to be a situation where I got 8 to 9 months to get you where you need to be
Yeah.
from an athletic standpoint, and in life. And a lot of these guys, truthfully, they're nowhere near can get it done in 8 to 9 months. So I
Mhm.
really have to be thorough with asking those type of questions and building some type of relationship and seeing, okay, I'll take a chance on this guy because I really think he means well and can do it. It's just a matter of when is he going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And some guys, quite naturally, they don't ever figure it out. And that's just the
Yes.
nature of the business.
Yeah.
So
Man, and that is true, because and I like the honesty with it, and I think that's important too, because this is not necessarily a one-way trip to get to Division One, NAIA, whatever. Just give you an opportunity and exposing you to the things that you need. And that's one thing I had a conversation with a lot of coaches as high school coaches. And I say this for myself. I know it's difficult for me to prepare a kid for college. I know high school coaches, we say this all the time, but at a high school level, when you don't have kids at that level and you have a small amount allotted time, or you don't have the facilities and you don't have the people that they go against every day, it is literally hard to prepare a kid for that. I know high school coaches, we say it all the time, and we may got to reframe that a little bit. I think certain things we can do, maybe skill development, but I think it's actually hard. And I think that's why some high school kids struggle when they go to college, for a number of reasons. Obviously, being away from home, the weight program, but I just think the competitiveness of the atmosphere and how things are structured are challenging for high school coaches. Some high school coaches do it well. I'm not saying they don't because they have morning practices, but I'm thinking about those schools that don't have like showers, so they can have morning practice and afternoon practices, and those who have kids that live far, far away and don't have transportation. So I think the post grad program helps in that and help kind of curve that because the learning curve don't have to be as wide because of this. So I'm enjoying grad programs, and I didn't realize it until a couple of years ago when I started kind of familiarize myself and get familiar with it. Excuse me. Y'all play a lot of colleges, man, in JUCO. So, coach, let's talk us a little bit about. Let's talk about a few of the games that you had this year so far, just some of the teams you played, because I think that is so key for a kid to get a true evaluation, real time, about what he or she has to do to be successful at that level.
So right now, this was the first half of the year. 6-9. We've played uh, Jones Community College,
Mm,
Mississippi Gulf Coast, Science Community College. There was one more JUCO we played. I know we played 4 so far.
okay.
And NAIAs, we played. They have JV teams now. NAIAs. So we
Mhm.
played William Carey JV team and Tougaloo JV team twice. So you going into that, and I know I love to win.
Yeah.
I'm a competitor. I love to win. Lord knows I do.
Yes. Me too.
Last year, for example, man, I went through a brutal stretch. Like I played almost every JUCO in the state of Mississippi, every Monday and Thursday, and we was getting annihilated. Like it was a beatdown, and it was demoralizing to the kids to a certain point.
Uh-huh.
But when I look back on it after the season, when we start talking about getting guys workouts and they go play for colleges, they look great. Like we had two kids that signed with Gaston State. That's a JUCO out of Alabama. One of those kids are starting right now and leading the team in scoring, and the other one is playing significant minutes. My point guard last year, he's at Alcorn State, and he was starting. He had a knee injury, but he started and was playing well. And he was taking that beating all last year. And so, what I try to get these guys to understand is, you may take a beat now,
Mhm.
but it's going to help you to understand the speed of the game, and
Yep.
then you're a freshman and like playing against 2 and 3 year guys that's probably been in 2 different college programs.
Mhm.
And for the most part, this year we've been in competitive in every college game that we've played. Just mental stuff. From a experience standpoint. Like I know a couple of these games we should have won. We had the size, athleticism, but when I look at where they should be next year, they're going to be freshmen with I've done played a whole, college schedule, just about.
Mhm.
We got some more JUCOs in the second part of the year. But the wins and losses, it really don't matter to me at this point. My deal is about development, and these guys getting the most scholarship opportunities possible. And it's a selling point to college coaches with this because you want true evaluation where they playing college guys right now. Like
Yep.
it's on you what you want to do, and a lot of coaches can be lazy and don't take into the account of these guys are going to battle against 2 or 3 year guys.
Yeah.
They may look at the score, say they down 20, 25, but you got some coaches like, Coach, I love it. I
Me
love
too.
what you're doing. Now it's a true evaluation. Like one coach told me for a couple weeks ago, he was like, Coach, somebody may score 40 points on another post grad. I don't care about that. But when you look up and they have 10 points against a college as a freshman, hey, I'd rather take that guy.
Yes, sir.
And truly, that's a true assessment. So I look at that, from that standpoint of playing these colleges and getting that experience. That way they understand the game. So it's hard, and it's definitely hard. When you lose a game you're supposed to win, and you want to win all of them. But I constantly have to remind my guys, hey man, y'all are freshmen. If you had one of those guys that was on team last year with y'all, we would probably win, majority of our games. But I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased. The record shows like we've had guys that left our program and they've gone on to succeed the year one of their college year. So um, we've done a good job with that.
Man, that's good, coach. And I love your honesty, man. Because when I was looking at those games, I was like, man, like the score sometimes it is, like you say, that can be definitely,
Mhm.
can hurt your confidence. But I can just tell by the way you talk and you explain to your kids that it is not about the score, because obviously on paper they're supposed to win, but we want to see how you can compete.
Right.
Can you understand what we're trying to do? Because at the end of the day, I mean, we have nothing to lose. So I like your honesty and I like your transparency because, and all of us as coaches, we hate to lose. I know I hate it with a passion. You go home thinking things through. But what I've been really trying to focus on is like, if I've done all that I could have done, and I put my kids in the best position, and even if I made a mistake, how can I get better? I'm gonna just leave it in the Lord's hand and just try to get better and try not to beat myself up too much because it does kind of wear on you. For young coaches out there, don't spend too long on the loss. Don't spend too long on the
Yes.
win. I mean, live in it,
So,
and for that maybe less than 24 hours. Some people say 24 hours. I say take the night and next day let's roll on to the next thing. And that's one thing about basketball, unlike football. We don't have to wait till the next Sunday or the next Thursday. Usually the day after a couple of days, we get right back at it. So
yeah, yeah. This is
I
being
think.
positive, man. And
Mhm.
for the most part, we be in games the first half. It's just that maturation of okay, that college they gonna make a run coming out that second half just because they know that you guys not be playing around with y'all.
Yeah,
And
I know.
once we get over that little hurdle, like I say, we'll be fine, man. These guys, they really can play. Like we've had some really good players come through our program the last 3 years, um, and it's just because we work every day. So
Man, that's good, coach. And speaking of work, man, I know player development is what you're good in. Well, one of the things I know that you are good in, you're great at a lot of different things. And so, talk to me, coach, just a little bit about your skill development or your player development, and just how you some of the things you like to do, or some of the things you have done, or why you feel is important. Because I know that's a key of what you like to do, and you're preparing these kids for just having them in the gym 3 times a day, just trying to get them better. So, just talk to me a little bit about your player development philosophy on how you see things.
and for me, it's all about playing to your strengths. And it's a tough deal when you not. I don't have kids for 4 years.
Yeah,
So you talking about 8 months to get them to play a certain way with different guys that they never played with. And everybody's probably used to playing having the ball in their hands. And
yeah,
so you talking about I have to go to ground zero with teaching them how to play with other good players. And so for me, I always, if you can't really shoot, why shoot the ball right now? Like stick to your strengths. If you're a driving kick guy, be great at driving and kicking. We'll work on the shooting part of it, but you need to showcase your strengths because my ultimate job is to develop you and showcase your strengths. So now a college coach can okay. I like that he can set guys up. I like that he can catch and shoot. Like I like that he runs the floor hard and can block shots.
yeah,
So that's how I kind of do my development and try to analyze everybody's game and not try to define so much as roles because I don't want to take anything away, but getting them
mm,
to understand by film, uh, drilling, that this is really game like situations, college situations, because truthfully, they're not going to go into a situation in college being the guy, unless it's just a terrible, terrible school. You're not going to be the guy. They're already going to have a guy that they've recruited to be a 20-point game scorer. They recruited a guy that's gonna get, 15 shot attempts. So how do you well are you gonna be? Are you gonna be a good teammate? Are you gonna be the guy to be, the most targetive guy on the defensive end? Are you gonna be a good practice player? So those are the things that I try to instill from the development side on these guys getting to the next level. Like I say, it's tough because I don't have these guys for 4 years to get that in them. But for the most part, I like to stick to strengths and showcase less of your weaknesses.
mm.
Because ultimately, I know coaches don't like it, but hey, if you go there and he go to you and he showcase all them weaknesses, well, he didn't do that for me, but we did his strengths. And so, but he signed that paper. It ain't
Yeah.
got nothing to do with me.
So,
It's just what it is. I mean, and it's the truth.
yeah.
Like some guys, they get it. Like right now, I got a couple of guys. They're just now understanding that. Like I know a lot of guys. They think, oh, I'm doing post grad. I'm gonna go and get 20. I need to get 20 points a game to get a scholarship opportunity. No, it don't work that way.
No.
Like I had guys that averaged. For instance, one of my players, he signed with me out of went to Western Kentucky in Atlanta, and he's at Pine Bluff right now, averaging 20 a game. And graduating high school, he only averaged 12 points a game. And when he came to me, he averaged like 20 plus a game. And now, man, he's labeled as a scorer right now.
Yeah.
And that's the part that I try to get guys to understand. You don't have to be a 20-point game scorer. Do other things that can get you in the door and then work on those other intangibles. So I like to watch film and like to study. And like I tell all my guys all the time, I say, man, you can't tell me about your game because when you um, off and you having fun talking with your guys like this week, I'm watching film and I'm seeing how can I help put you in situations where you can showcase your ability.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at the development side.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's key. And you said something. I've been telling one of my players this probably for like 3 weeks now. Play to your strength. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand, especially in this world we live in now with social media, and a lot of our high school kids, I know you may not see as much on post grad, but a lot of our high school kids, they want to make sure they do something spectacular so they can post it on
Oh
social
yeah, no,
media.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Like I got kids. Like as soon as the game over with, coach, you get that film. You got that film? Yeah. I say you just want the film so you can upload your highlight. Like it's every level, man. It's every level.
Man, well, I feel a little bit better because that frustrates me to work like a kid ain't been watching film all year. He playing one good game and he the first one. Coach, you got that
Yeah,
film uploaded? So I go and watch
yeah,
film and see what happened. I'm like, man, I know you trying to look at stat because the
yeah.
studies don't lie. You ain't been watching film all year.
Right, right. Yeah, man. It's. I'm gonna go through the same thing. I go through the same thing, and it's frustrating. It always so frustrating.
It really
And
is.
so, like, I'm the type. Okay, all right, we're gonna come on. I'm gonna go in there and watch it with you. You see this box out right here? You missed. Like this one. This was like, come on. You see how you stand on perimeter when you should have cut down the lane and you would have had a dunk. Like that's the type of stuff, And yeah, kids are different these days. Like it
Yeah,
ain't no mistake about it. This generation is different. They're it's just different. And everybody's having the same problem with this generation, and it's just a tough pickle we in as coaches.
yeah, yeah. That's true, coach. And a lot of times I tell a lot of my coaching buddies that, and we often ask ourselves, are we sounding like the old guys now? Because we keep saying, because that's what they said when we were young. They were like, man, this
Yeah,
generation, this generation. But I agree with you, coach. This generation is different. Not saying, because they said we were different, but with us knowing that this generation is different, I like what you do on a constant basis. We got to find a way to figure it out. Like find some way to figure it out. So, coach, talk to us about the coach player relationship that you have or you try to develop, because that's one thing that I've been noticing. I heard a lot of coaches say this, especially with the generation that we in. Relationships mean a lot with these
yeah,
coaches because Coach, you probably were the same when we grew up, and I know you were the same. I didn't listen to your story. When we grew up, the men or the women in our lives or our coaches, we knew that they loved us, but they rarely showed it. And what I mean by that is, it was rare if they came around and say, "Hey, I'm gonna come to your birthday party, or we gonna do this, or we gonna make a TikTok, or we gonna do this." Like it was tough love, and we knew that they loved it. They probably never said it, but we knew it. I guess we assumed it. But this generation, like we have to let them know that we care about them, coach. So how do you manage that? Because as I said, I'm not gonna say we old school, but that's kind of the way we grew up, is that tough love. But how do you kind of put a little old school in it, but still meet this generation where they are right now when it comes to building those relationships?
So my situation at Piney Woods is totally different. It's really hard.
Mhm.
I'm learning as I go how to handle it. The simple fact is, I don't have a full time assistant coach, and then I have an apartment in the same dorm as my guys. And
We,
so they see me every single day, all day long. And
oh,
so it's not a situation where I can get on them and give them a little love, and then leave. Like they may do something, then I may get on them hard, and they mad at me for the rest of the day. And then I ask them, "Hey man, you need to clean your room up." It may be a problem,
Yep.
and then I had to go and be the soft coach, and understand, man, this is why I'm on you. And I try to have those conversations when I done got on the kid, and I'm a bear. Like I try to I'm a bear on the court because that's what I know.
Yep.
I love basketball. So I know I can be hard at times when I'm crossing that line. And so off the court, I try to be the chill, relaxed guy because I don't want them to be a situation where they can't come talk to me.
Talk to you. Yep.
You may have something going on in your life, and I try to have that off the court and forget all that. Like whatever happened on the court, cool. Off the court, hey man, what's going on? This is why I'm on you. This is what I expect of you. And so it's a fine line. It's tough. Because like I say, my situation, like I see these guys all the time, but I try to explain reasons on why I'm on them
Yep.
and how much I do care and I love them. Like every day after practice, we in the huddle, I let them know I love them. Every day when they get ready to go home, I love you. Be safe. And some of them, they may think that I just said, but it's the truth. Like, I got former players that played for me that can call and check in on me, or I call and check in on me. Like, I got guys that's playing college ball. Like, I can call and get on them about, they not playing what they're supposed to play after I watch the game, college game, and they respect it. Because they know I mean well for everyone.
Yep.
And sometimes, I can get myself in the bind because I go to bat for everybody. And so it's a fine line. But explaining it on what reasons on why you own them and teaching them, this is how you handle certain situations, or you may have some stuff going on at home. Hey man, I have stuff going on at home all the time, and I'm not gonna let that steer away from my mission here with you. Like
Yep.
when I cross that line, I gotta block it out. For that hour and a half, 2 hours, I gotta block it out because I gotta stay focused. And so I use that as a teaching moment for those guys because they don't know that I have stuff going on in my personal life unless I share it with them. And so I know one kid was like, "Dang, coach, I didn't know you had that going on." Like, yeah, I try not to let you guys see my emotions like that. So it's tough, but that's how I handle it.
Cool. Let me ask you this: were your coaches like that, or were they the opposite of it? And the reason I'm asking because I'm trying to see why we didn't receive that, and did we actually need that, and does it affect us now?
I always had a good coach and a bad coach, bad
Yeah.
coach, good cop, bad cop. And I knew there was certain coaches that you could go to,
Yeah.
that you can talk to, and they would be understanding. Um, and the bad coach, I always knew he kind of meant well, but you always gotta have that some person that you can kind of have a true, genuine relationship with.
Yeah.
Um, and to this day, like I got one of my coaches that I check on from time to time, but it's because I know he was there for me. He went to bat, and that's not to say I think I had coaches that was rough.
Yeah.
I do think that they mean well, but it's just one of those things to where I think it's just how we came up. It was tough skin. Like hey man, you better do this, and you gotta toughen up and take it. And
Yeah.
ain't no way like it was times where I would come home from practice and I was like, I ain't going back. I quit. My mom
Mhm.
and daddy wouldn't let me quit. Like, no,
Yes.
you going back out there. You started something now. And then,
Mhm.
well, coach did this to me. No, you probably did something to that coach. Like, I grew up in that household. Like,
Yeah.
it was going to, no excuse. You going to finish this. You going to figure it out. And so, that's the part I came up from. A lot of kids, they don't have that. And so it's tough, and you got to be the father figure, the law, and teach them and train them and be an outlet. Like everything, like those times when they would tell us to do something when we was coming up, and we probably asked, we didn't, we shouldn't ask her why. Why I
Yep.
got to do this?
You know
No,
what?
you better not ask why. Like now, these kids, they're been taught and raised that, as well, why I gotta do this? Well, this is why you're doing this, because this situation. Because they're inquisitive minds. And I'm learning to understand that. Does it upset me at times? Yes, because it's at the wrong time.
Yep.
But it's just knowing the times we in.
Yeah.
And they don't mean any harm. It's just, my upbringing may be different from their upbringing. And that's the part that I've grown to learn and understand.
Man, I'm glad you said that, man, because I had a conversation with a couple of my guys a couple of weeks ago. So like I said, a lot of times they ask why, and a lot of
Yeah,
things that they do, if we would have done them, I told them, man, and I don't even want to say it's on the podcast, but man, some of our adults in our lives, man, you talk back to them or you talk smart mouth, man, you might get hit upside the head, the nose, the
yes,
eyes, anything.
yeah,
And there wasn't no questions asked. Nobody said, what you doing that? Because that's just how it was. And I told them, man,
right,
I said, when y'all start talking back and doing all that disrespect, I got to calm myself down because I get flashbacks, man, because that was unheard of. And so, Coach, I like it. Sounds like you're a player coach, and I like that you are adjusting to the time, but you're not losing your core principles, coaching. Because, like I said, you've seen it at a high level. You got people in your family who have done it at a high level, so you understand what it takes to win. But you do understand I have to adjust the time, and that's kind of a question that everybody is kind of asking about Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick won a certain way. He won with a certain type of guy, and I'm not sure if you're a Patriots guy or a football guy, but I know you understand the coaching terms of it. Do you feel like is the time is moving past Coach Belichick, or is what he's or is he right to stick to his guns and not change? Because obviously people are going to say, well, it was Tom Brady why he was so successful, and we can agree Tom Brady had a lot to do with that. But I always give coaches credit because coaches do facilitate some of that. Well,
mhm.
how you feel about that?
I do think that, to a certain extent, time has passed with,
Yeah.
certain coaches. When you think about on the college basketball side, think about the coaches that have retired recently.
Yep.
And I think it's due to the fact of they can't relate to the generation that we're in right now.
Yep.
And then I'm a firm believer like of this: when you surround yourself with guys and knowing that you're gonna be, the tough guy, the
Yep.
old school guy, you have to surround yourself with some younger guys that can relate and
Yep.
get the message on a different platform that they understand.
That's true.
And if you don't have that, it can be hard and challenging.
Mm.
And I do believe that. And I think that's why a lot of these coaches are retiring and getting out of business, because they can't relate to them. Like sometimes, with me not having full time, I get to where, man, I tell Coach Richard, hey man, I can't do this. um, but once I get calmed down, I understand that this is why I'm needed, to
Yeah.
help show them that. But on the coaching side, if you got to surround yourself with some guys that can get that can relate to them and get that message across, everybody, like for instance, Dion. Everybody wants to play for Dion just
Yep.
because he can relate to him. He got the sunglasses on. He got the chain on. Like this generation relate to it. Like everybody loves to play with him. And then he got young coaches that's fits his mind. So and
Yep.
that's why he's gonna be fine with getting players that can really play. So
Yep. I was going to say that too, man. I know a lot of people are not Coach Prime fans, and I'm one of them just on his philosophy on how he do things. But I was about to say the same thing. He has surrounded himself
yeah,
with younger people in almost every position where he needs them, like his own personal manager, his personal, I don't know if it's called a manager, but the person who handles his day to day,
yeah,
he's young. And his son who runs social media, he's young. So he is, of course, he's old school, as we say, grew up like we did, but he understands and he quit. And we see that just by the kids that come to him, the number of kids that transfer, he understands where they are. I know he probably disagrees, like we disagree with some things of this generation, but he understands what it takes because these kids, it's so many, especially on the college level, you know what I'm saying? Not just only, being exposed, good exposure, but you think about, NIL and all those different things
yeah.
that go into play, makes a big, big difference. So, man, I
Mhm.
like the way you're thinking, Coach. Coach, I'm gonna ask you this one question And then I'm gonna ask you some quick hitters, and then we're gonna go and kind of get out of here. But Coach, man, I would be remiss if I don't miss Coach Yusef Fitzgerald, man. Of course, man, everybody knows Coach, man. He's a great guy, young guy, energetic guy. So, Coach, talk to us about what makes Coach Yusef, man. What makes him special, man? I know we call him you, Coach Yusef, but Coach Fitzgerald, man. What makes him special, and what makes him the right job to restore what's going on in Piney Woods? Because I know when I first heard, and some people heard, like, man, you on a college level and you giving all that up to go back to Piney Woods, man. Tell us what's going on, man. So, Coach, just talk us a little bit about Coach Yusef, man.
Um, Coach Yusuf, he's passionate for the young kids, not just young men, but the young women and the younger generation. And I think we talked about this all the time before I even came to Pine was that we got to get to a space to where we can reach these younger generation at a younger age. And truthfully, he felt like at the college level he couldn't reach them at that age because they consider thinking they grown.
Mhm.
And so that's one reason why I think he made the move to move down. And then he's passionate about basketball. And at this level, you can do more teaching and being more patient and understanding. Your job ain't on the line to win games. Like some jobs are, to
Yeah.
win games, but it's not necessarily where we at. We can go 0 and some, and we still be fine.
Yep.
But we're reaching kids for life lessons, and so that's kind of where we connect a lot on. Is we want to give back, and he wants to give back. He graduated from Piney Woods, so it was a mission for him to get his school back on the up and up.
Yep.
I think him and the president, they went to school. They both graduated from Piney Woods, and that was a tough, rough patch. And they needed, some restoring, some reviving. Um, and why not get someone that that graduated from Piney Woods when it was well on the up and up? Somebody won multiple state championships while playing, and give back to the school that helped shape him.
Mm.
And everybody probably knows his story that he wasn't the best kid coming up, but
Yep.
look at him now. He's a college coach. Impacted a lot of people's lives, and um, he's doing it right now. So I think Coach Fitzgerald is a heck of a coach. Great dude, a brother. And some people don't like it because he give it to you raw and uncut. And I like the term energetic because he is energetic. And right now he's our high school coach. I don't know if you knew that, but he's our high school coach, and they're
Mm.
doing really well.
Mm.
And I think they're going to make a run this year. He don't think so, just from a coaching standpoint. But I told him, man, you're gonna be fine. I really think that they're gonna be able to make a run. So um, having that Piney Woods alumni back on campus, that helps a lot around the campus.
Yeah, man, that's good to hear. Yeah, I didn't know Coach Fitzgerald was coaching high school
Yeah,
until like the beginning of the season. I asked him for some film, and Coach, you still owe me some film. But nah, he was on vacation at the time. He said, "Coach, I'm gonna get it to you." I said, "Coach, you on vacation, but you to even answer the phone during this time means a lot, man." So yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad he's doing good on them, man. So Coach,
yeah,
I ain't forgot the
yeah,
film, man.
yeah. I'm gonna remind him, hey man, your coach sent us some film. Um, yeah,
Man, Coach, it's good to hear. Man, you said something this, and this probably is personal, but I'm gonna say it anyway,
mhm,
Coach. You said something key, man. I think, and we got away from this in high school and in college. I think we really need to take a look at hiring people who have gone through the hallways, gone through the classrooms, been on the team, who are alumni of their school when you come to hiring. And the reason I
yeah,
said it was personal is because again, I at one time where was interviewing to go back and be the head coach at my high school, and they didn't think I was ready for the job and they hired somebody else. And I've said on previous episodes, they probably are right. But as I look back at it, I think it's always good to kind of reach back out. If
yes,
obviously you want to get the best candidate, but a lot of times when you got a homegrown kid, as they say, or a homegrown person, it makes a difference that you can get them back in there because you know that their number one goal is to reestablish
Mhm.
or continue to make it strong, and they're gonna live it with pride. They're gonna wear it. They go
Yeah.
everything they do. Decide is gonna be about that school. So again, I'm way past that with my high school. I still support them, but I just think we gotta start looking at the people that we have, and the supporters of the program have to stop looking at people who come back to the school as that same old person. Like if I graduate there at 18 and I come back and coach there at 37 or 43, don't look at me as that same 18-year-old. I'm a whole different person.
Right.
I'm doing great things, and give me an opportunity. But we have to start. I feel like we should hire people who really have their roots
Oh, yeah.
in the.
It's different, man. It's different. And I can use, for example, like Grambling State, for instance, football team. Like, I think that's a great hire for them with Mickey Joseph because he knows Louisiana. He coached at Grambling for years. And um, when you think about people that have success, that,
Yeah,
in coaching on any sport, any level, they're homegrown.
yep,
I'm a firm believer of that. Like, it's something about going back home and finishing up something that you didn't finish, or that something that died off that you need to revive.
yep.
And people get behind that.
They do.
Like, if you don't feel you don't have alumni backing and people not have a school spirit, like, get somebody that came from graduate from there and watch how that thing bloom and blossom.
Yep,
Like, I'm a firm believer of that. You out and I always situation where you always should be able to go home.
yep,
Like, I believe that you should always be able to go home and be welcomed with open arms, especially if you left the right way. So
yeah. It's funny to hear you say that. My dad tells me that all the time, and I know he listens to my podcast. He always says, "You can't go nowhere else. You can go home." And
yeah,
we always go back and forth with it because when I tried to go back there home, they didn't allow me to come back. But he always says
yeah,
that, man. So I guess I have to give him kudos for that. I'm always listening to him. I
yeah,
give him a hard time, but he says that you should always be able to go home, and that's why, like, I'm supporting a friend of mine, Coach Foster, who went back to Murrah High School, and I know they're not
mhm,
doing probably what people see to be as successful. They're like, man, you probably should have stayed where you were when you were at Brandon High School. But when I talk to her, her motivation is the same. She's like, we plant seeds. Eventually, when you
yeah,
plant a seed, it ain't gonna grow the next day. Like we are
oh, yeah,
established something, and she goes by restoring
mhm,
greatness. You saying that, man, is just kind of reaffirming. Hopefully she's listening. Just keep on doing what she's doing, but she's just motivated about it. And of course, she graduated from Murrah, won state championships. Some people say she left better to go to something that wasn't as great. But she saw as an opportunity to do what you and I are talking about, is just
yeah,
reestablish what it is.
oh yeah, for sure.
All right,
Yeah.
Coach, I'm gonna give you a couple quick hitter questions, and then we're gonna allow you to enjoy the rest of your evening. Coach, here's one of our all-time questions that we ask every episode. Coach, one of our most popular questions. Coach, I'm gonna put you on the spot, Coach. What's your NBA starting five of all time? You don't have, you can do position or it can be positionless, like how we do now. But what's your all-time starting five?
Tough. Of course, I'm gonna go Mike, Kobe. Uh, I love Steph. I'm gonna put Steph out there.
Okay,
I'm gonna go Shaquille O'Neal, and then probably Kevin Garnett.
okay, KG.
So,
All right, so you got
okay.
Mike, Kobe, Steph, Shaq, and KG. Man, that's a pretty good lineup. Like I tell everybody every episode, man, Mike has been on everybody's list. Man, I think we're on episode, I think 28 or 29 by now. He's on
Mhm.
everybody's list, and a person that's growing is Steph Curry. Like Steph is
Yeah,
becoming more and more on that list, and Magic is becoming less and less on that list. So it's some people say, oh, it's just a young generation, but it's tough to say though because you can't go wrong either way. But it's a lot of great things that Steph does that Magic
and
did, and vice versa.
yep, and it's I know Shaq was talking about it last night. He
Yep.
had asked Kennedy, is it time to start talking about Steph being one of the greatest of all time? Which I agree with Shaq because, like, what does he don't? He does everything out there.
Yeah.
Truthfully. So
Yeah,
I'm a
man.
fan of.
It's interesting to see, man. Let me ask you about this. I'm a Pelicans fan, so I guess I might be a little bit biased on this question. But I'm looking at Ja Morant and I'm looking at Zion. Obviously, Zion was taking one, Ja was number two. Obviously, both of them have kind of ran into, I would say, some kind of bumps in the road,
Right.
But outside of that, I guess I asked a two-part question. Um, how do you feel that they are meeting expectations now? And where do you see both of them? And what I mean by see both of them, they both play in small markets,
Yeah.
Memphis, New Orleans, which to me is not really small market, but I get what they say because, of course, it's not
Yeah.
New York or Chicago or California or Los Angeles, excuse me. But where
Yeah.
do you see them now? I hope Zion stay in New Orleans because, again, we got a great team in New Orleans, man. We just got to
Yeah.
put it together, man. We lost the other day to John Morant, and it was his first game back.
Yeah.
So,
His first
but
game back.
again, that's a side note. But man, how do you feel? How do you feel about those in those situations?
I think Zion is moving. Um, just because I don't think that from an organization standpoint, they haven't trended upward consistently.
Okay.
But it's his fault and the coach's fault. I really truly think that at some point they're going to get a different direction because when you talking about the team that they got around them, like you got Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, you got some really good players around them, and they're
Hmm.
struggling right now
Yeah.
consistently.
Assistant, you right.
And I really think they need a veteran presence. Uh, why while Zion probably still has a good feel from a trade value, I can see them doing something to get an older presence in there that's really good to
Yeah.
help them. Um, I really truly feel that way. John Morant, hopefully this was an eye opener.
Yeah.
I can see him staying in Memphis, but I'm interested to see how he progresses over the course of the rest of the year from a growth standpoint. Like,
Yeah.
like in understanding, like you don't have to be the flashy guy or do this guy to be, the face of everything.
That's true.
So I'm interested to see, how this rest of the season transpires for him because like the NBA is about dollars right now. Like you can't
True.
be out and be silly and you playing with their money.
No.
Like
No.
Draymond Green is prime example. Like you're
Yeah.
messing with these people money with you not being on the court, and
Yeah.
they not going to be for that, man. It's a business at the end of the day.
Yeah. It
So
is.
those guys are, man. That's something to look at though. Seriously, I'm glad you brought that up. Because I really that's gonna be tough.
It is. Yeah, man, because like they got definitely a bright future, man, and I definitely want the
Yep.
best for them. And I really like where the NBA is right now, man. It's a lot of talented guys on different teams, man, and you can really, man, turn on the game any night. And if you're a true basketball fan, you can really enjoy the game because the NBA has always been talented, but it's so many talented teams out there that play a lot of good basketball and do a lot of good things where you can really enjoy. So you're
Yep.
right about that. They really negotiate. They in that process where they're trying to negotiate those billions of dollars when it comes to contract and viewing, and you can just tell
Yeah.
for those who for the non for people who are not paying attention, but you can tell that they're doing things to make sure when this contract they can get that contract by the in season tournament and by how what they're doing on social media and how they spotlight
Yep.
different things. And they trying to tell y'all, man, we're not about to let y'all mess up our bag now. So you're gonna
No,
have to get you're gonna have
yeah.
to get
Especially when you got younger generation that's watching it,
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
that
yeah,
they getting away with it.
that's true, man. So
Yeah.
man, that's where they are with that. So I'm excited to see where it is. Hopefully my Pelicans can figure it out, man, because we need a good season down there.
Right. Right.
Man, Man, Coach Carr, man, it's been a great interview, man. I'm glad that you came on, man. I think you really opened the eyes up and really informed our listening audience about what post grad really is. Because I'm not even sure if everybody even knew that we had a post grad program in Piney Woods. Hopefully they knew, but if they didn't, man, it's gonna expose it a lot. I'm just
Oh
reaching out
yeah.
to all of the coaches, man. If you got a player that you feel that may
Man.
need another year of development, man, please holler at Coach Carr, man. I don't think you're gonna find a more amazing post grad coach who's going to. He said it first, and you think about what he said. I always like to listen to what people say. People show you something, but listen to what he said and look at his work. He started off with ministry. if you think about it, he never in this whole interview, he never went and talked about, well, I'm trying to get these wins, I'm trying to move to the next level. He
Right.
always said, I'm here to help. Think about it. He live in a dorm room with his kids. Like I'm saying, he got an apartment on
Right.
campus. And so he sacrificed. So we get to get away from him for a little bit. He's right there and he's giving them what they need. He's making sure he prepares them and he puts them in the right position. So if you're looking for a thoughtful and a caring coach who's going to look out for your kids at that level in post grad, you can't look no further than Coach Carr. And so, man, make sure you get an opportunity to please reach out to him. Coach, I know you don't have to give you your cell phone number. Coach, how can they reach you on social media, man, and just reach out to you with that?
I'm active on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. So, man, you can look up Coach T Carr, Coach Carr T Carr. So I can't even remember my Twitter handle.
Hey, I'm
Or
the same.
my but I'm active on there. You'll see, and then you can. We have our postgraduate page, PWS Post Grad Basketball.
Yep.
That's our Twitter. You can DM that. It's a video. I'm not hard to find. Coach, you can share my number with your coaches in your network. I'm open to anything. Like especially right now, like we're down next couple of weeks. So I'm actively moving around, seeing this is my only night where I haven't been to a high school game. So I'm gonna be rolling, seeing guys, looking at video. So if you got some video or anything that some kids that you think has some ability to play at the next level, and post grad is the thing to go now, especially with this transfer portal. Like guys want older guys, so you want a program where they can play competitive and be taught, be held accountable. Piney Woods is where it's at.
Yeah, Coach Carr, we thank you for that, man. Make sure you check out Piney Woods. Make sure you check out Coach Carr. As always, before we sign off, be kind and be nice to someone. Until next episode, we'll see you later.